Hi friends, today we're going to learn how to do a pop shove-it. I'm so excited to share this with you because the pop shove-it is literally one of my favorite tricks. You can do it off of anything. You can do it off a curb, off some stairs. You can do it from like a board slide, pop shove it out, 50-50 grind, pop shove it out. And it's also, you know, the foundation for so many tricks. Any sort of varial flips, backside flips, it goes a long way. And oftentimes the pop shove-it will be pretty much the second trick you'll learn after an ollie. So let's get right to it. First, you want to know how to ride a board. That's just a prerequisite. You want to be as comfortable as possible, be as well balanced as possible on a board, because you don't want to be fighting, you know, having to learn how to balance on the board while also trying to learn how to do a pop shove-it at the same time. Now, the second thing you want to know is how to do an ollie. And I do have a video on how to do an ollie. You definitely want to know how to do an ollie because, as the name implies, the pop shove-it, you want to pop the board to get them to be really nice. But to be honest with you, the first pop shove-it you'll land is probably going to be just kind of kicked by your feet without the tail popping on the ground. And finally, I always recommend this: do a stretch before you skate. I have a video on that too. Just a few simple stretches will go a long way because skateboarding is a risky sport. You can easily injure yourself, and stretching goes a long way in minimizing that risk. I really want all of you to keep skating as long as possible and as injury-free as possible. Now, let's learn how to do a pop shove-it. The setup for a pop shove-it is as follows. It's very similar to an ollie. So we'll have our back foot on the tail. We'll have our front foot a little bit forward from the midpoint of the board. Although, you know, it depends whatever you're comfortable with. Some people are strictly in the center of the board. It may be easier to be, when you're first starting off, to be right on the bolts. So why don't we see that in motion? Let's see if I can do this and not drop the camera. Okay, not too bad while holding a camera at the same time. Why don't we see that in slow motion and up close? It's very similar to an ollie, except your back foot is going to be scooping the board behind you, and your front foot is going to be nudging the board forward in front of you. Your back foot is trying to pop the tail against the ground, but simultaneously you're actually twisting the board in a clockwise direction. So back foot towards the rear, front foot forwards. Now, like I said before, you're most likely not going to manage popping the board at first. And there's many ways to go about doing this in place. I might even recommend just kind of standing on a deck, if you have one, on some carpet, and just kind of practice that motion. Practice the motion of rotating the board underneath you. It is very similar to how you would actually do it in real life on a board with wheels on the ground. Once you have mastered that motion on the carpet, you can move on to your skateboard on the ground. And here's what the pop shove-it will look like without popping the board. Now, when you're just trying to do it without a pop, it's probably going to be a lot more comfortable for your front foot to be closer to the bolts, like this. Right? Back foot scoops towards the rear, front foot scoops towards your front. You can also do it while moving. That'll be the next step. Now, doing the pop shove-it while in motion is going to be a very similar process to when you learned how to do an ollie while in motion. You might want to set up a small obstacle, maybe a broom, just put it flat across the ground, maybe a stick. That'll tell you whether or not you're actually catching air, and there's very little penalty if you land on the broomstick. It'll just get kicked out of the way. Just like when you learned how to ollie while in motion, the pop shove-it is going to be very similar. So once you learn it on the carpet, once you learn it kind of on flat ground without motion, you'll have the basic skills down to take it to the next level. And the difference just basically is where you shift your body weight, because instead of all of the shock being absorbed by you landing on your knees, it's actually going to get translated into rolling motion as you catch the board and then keep rolling away. Now, whether you set up your obstacle like this or like that is really up to you. Like this is probably going to be easier, and in fact, if you're ever going to try to pop shove it up a curb, you're most likely at first going to do it at an angle, which I find is easier to do. So kind of like this. Sorry about that's not really a stick, but you get the idea. And likewise, once you're ready to upgrade those skills and face a curb head on, which there's going to be a lot more timing involved, rolling right up against a curb, an obstacle. In short, once you have that scooping motion down and you can rotate the board underneath you, you can move to the next step, which is what I explained before, basically the ideal pop shove-it, the one where you actually pop the tail of the board against the ground, and it'll almost be like learning a whole new trick. I've been doing my pop shove-its for many years just with a scooping motion and no pop. Eventually I decided I want to upgrade my pop shove-its because I want to be able to do them down curbs, up curbs, off of things, all kinds of things. And in order to do that, you gotta have that pop. And as always, whenever you're learning a new trick, be kind to yourself, be kind to your body. If it doesn't work at first, don't worry. This can take days, weeks, sometimes even months to learn a new trick. Don't be hard on yourself. The most dangerous point in skateboarding is when you get frustrated and angry at a trick and you start kicking your board. You don't want to get to that point because that's when your body is extremely tired, you're frustrated, and you're more prone to actually making a lot of mistakes. And that is when injury comes in. So never let it get to that point. If you're getting tired, just take a break. Let it all settle in. It takes a day or two for your brain to process what you learned during the day. And you come back fresh and in a good mood, and more likely than not, you'll probably like land it on your first try. That's how it happens so often, like a day of frustration followed by a great day of success. All right, everybody, I hope this helps. Happy skating, and let me know how you're doing on your journey to learning the pop shove-it. I'll see you next time.